My father's voice still lingers in the hollow he gouged into me. He never paused long enough to ask what happened, never searched my eyes, never wondered who had hurt me. He stood there in the doorway, jaw locked tight, eyes burning with a fury he'd been storing like ammunition. And when he shouted, "Get out! Get out of this house!" he didn't notice that my cheeks were dry. He didn't notice the faint smile pulling at my mouth. He thought he was delivering punishment. He didn't realize he'd just triggered the first fall of a long line of dominoes. 15 years earlier, I remember clutching the strap of my bag as I walked down that same front path, his words still scorching me from behind. I remember the cold, the isolation, the strange silence of a life newly emptied. But more than anything, I remember the clarity. People imagine clarity arriving gently, like dawn creeping over a horizon. Mine came with the precision of a blade. He hadn't wanted the truth. He hadn't even given it room to exist. And the truth was simple: I had not betrayed him. He had betrayed me the moment he decided his pride mattered more than his daughter. Before that night, I convinced myself my father loved me, not flawlessly but enough to hold on to. He taught me to ride a bike, clean a wound, face the world without flinching. At least, that was the story I told myself. Looking back, I see the cracks, the little jabs disguised as jokes, the way he recoiled whenever I disagreed, the loyalty he demanded at all costs but refused to return. I once believed he'd stand beside me through the darkest moment of my life. Instead, he delivered me to it. Years later, after I pieced myself back together from the ruin he left me in, I learned the truth he never bothered to seek. He never asked about the pregnancy. Never asked whose it was or why I was terrified. The child wasn't conceived in love, it was forced on me by a man my father trusted, a man he welcomed into our home, a man he defended whenever I tried to speak up. My father cut me off then too, told me not to start trouble. He chose his comfort. He chose his friend. He chose silence. But I was done being silent. I didn't chase him down for answers. I didn't write letters or try to stitch a wound he created with his own hands. Instead, I turned my entire focus toward my son, my miracle, my anchor, the fire that kept me moving. I raised him gently, with a strength my father never understood, a courage that didn't need violence, a sense of justice that spoke softly but held firm. And I waited, not for revenge but for the moment life always eventually circles back. Men like my father always return when they want forgiveness more than they want accountability. I built my life brick by brick, a thriving business, a home with tall windows and locked gates, a reputation untouched by his absence or his lies. I never reached out to him, but I made sure the world carried my success to his doorstep. Not boastful rumors, just quiet confirmations. Let him sit with the knowledge of the daughter he discarded and the grandson he'd condemned without ever meeting. My son grew into a man with eyes as sharp as mine, but warmer, steadier. He didn't know every detail, not yet, but he understood enough to protect the boundaries I fought so hard to build. He understood that some people, no matter their title or blood, no longer earned the right to walk through your door. And then, 15 years after that night, it happened. A knock, soft, uncertain, aged. I saw them on the camera. My father, smaller than I remembered, folded into himself. My mother behind him, clutching her guilt like a gift she wasn't sure she had the right to give. I didn't move. My son reached the door first. When he opened it, their faces faltered, not because they saw me but because they saw him. Tall, calm, sharp-eyed. A living reminder of everything they refused to hear. My father's lips trembled. Is your mother here?" he stammered. My son didn't step aside. He held his ground. "She's home," he said quietly, "but you're not welcome." My father's expression collapsed. And that was when I stepped into the doorway behind my son. I said nothing. I didn't need to. The realization washed over him slowly, everything he had lost, everything I had built, everything he could never reclaim. His voice cracked. "Please, what have you done?" I smiled the same smile I wore the night he threw me out. "I protected my child," I said. "Something you never did." They left without another word. My son closed the door with deliberate gentleness as though sealing a crypt. And for the first time the weight slid off me, not triumph, not spite, just release. People think revenge means striking back. But real revenge is quieter. It's becoming everything they swore you'd never be, and watching them realize they forfeited their place in your life long before you closed the door.